Oh my God.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah,
well, apparently it's too late. So, hello, everyone. I'm the greeter today. Getting up my skills before I go get my job at Walmart.
I'm not mature enough to be the greeter.
Welcome. You're what?
I'm not mature enough to be the greeter.
Oh, but I am old enough to be the Walmart.
I didn't say old. I said mature. I am going to be 90 years old and not be mature. I have decided.
I am the oldest one here and the least mature.
Not by much.
Oh, no, I don't think. I think we all probably have a tie for maturity.
What year were you born, Tracy?
I'm the immature one. What?
What year were you born?
66.
I'm 65. I'm older.
Oh, that's a nice surprise.
I'm not the oldest hag in the group. Yay, me!
That's me.
I'm the youngest. Sorry.
Whoop whoop! It's Kathy. Kathy's the old
My
lady.
broom is younger than your broom.
It is Kathy. Kathy's the oldest one.
And we're all contemporary. We're within like 3 years of each other.
Right.
What are we? Are we like
We're Gen Z.
Are we boomers
Gen
or
X. We're Gen X.
We're Gen X. We're the
Gen
very
X.
tail end of Gen X. Yeah.
I have no idea what any of those things mean.
No, we're like early in
and
Gen X.
Gen
My sister
Z.
was the first year of Gen X and she was born in 64.
Mm.
So we're the beginning of Gen X.
Oh, I'm not. I'm born in 65. Oh, no, yeah, 64. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Okay, we're the beginning of Gen X. Yes, beginning of Gen X.
I was like, so you were born after?
I'm having a hard time mathing today.
Does Kathy need a nap?
Yes.
Yes, Gen X is starting to need naps. That's exactly right. We are starting to need I want no judgment. I want a nap.
Right. Right. All right.
I do find myself going to bed way earlier than I used to.
Oh, yeah. When dinner time and bedtime get closer and closer together, what you talking about? Yes.
They do. And I don't actually go to sleep, but I go into the bedroom with my laptop and I get into bed. And it's usually like, oh, it's after 9. It's socially acceptable for me to disappear. Good night.
I
wait till 9.
I do that at 7.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you wait till 9? I don't wait till 9 anymore.
Well, it depends who's home.
That's
if nobody's home, then
it can happen at 6.
Pretty much when I get home.
Yeah.
I've had enough of the day and I just want to be in my bed with my Netflix and my YouTube.
Well,
I walked in yesterday and looked at my husband and said it had better be a PJs and TV type night. Because that's what's happening. PJs and TV.
Deserved. After that, getting on that flight at Des Moines, deserved.
So yeah, you have to think Sunday, I got into Des Moines at 9:30 at night.
And had to drive to Carroll.
And had to drive it's what, an hour and 50 minutes to Carroll, hour and 30 something. I don't know. I know I pulled in at like 11 something. I am not made to drive it that late at night. But I will tell you, the stars are gorgeous there. You can see
yes, but the road between Omaha and Carroll, because I left because I did a talk at a guild just into Iowa from Omaha and from the Nebraska side. And then I had to drive, and I even told Doug, I'm like, I need to like concentrate. Like the roads it's dark and it's, the yellow stripe. I'm like, and there's curves. I'm like, okay, I need to be thinking. I can't be talking.
Oh, see, and Matt wants to make sure I stay awake.
Oh, but this one took some brain power. It took brain power. I couldn't.
So he talked to me all the way from Des Moines to
Oh, Carroll. Good for him. All right. Let's talk about quilters.
Yeah.
What is a quilter?
Are they little tiny old ladies who all sit around a frame and hand quilt?
I think that people think that they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Gray hair.
gray hair.
I have
Mhm.
gray hair.
Grandmas.
Lots
I have
of
gray hair.
Yeah.
I'm
But-
getting gray hair. We're all getting gray hair.
That's
But
not
that's not-
what I think quilters are, or that's what I know what quilters are not.
Yeah.
Right? We have a T-shirt in our store, Real Men Quilt, one of our best sellers.
hmm
So for one thing, that's one thing. It's not just little old ladies. And if they are little old ladies, they're all not nice, and they're all nice. They're all not.
Yeah,
what
careful.
people think they- well, yeah, well, they're all not. They're all
Well, they
not
seem
what.
to think that they're these sweet little old ladies who go to church every Sunday and do nothing wrong and aren't like quirky at all. Let's put quirky's a nice word for it, right? Aren't quirky
Right.
at all. And then you meet some of these little old ladies that are artists, and I mean they're cooler than I am by far, right? So yeah, it's not what people think it is. They think of it like it's their grandmother doing it or their great grandmother doing it. And that's not my impression of quilting at all.
Right. We're next door to a brewery, and they have this. It's called Cross Train. It's like two last names put together. They have this phenomenal beer called Fairy Nectar. It's a butterfly with a skull in the middle. And we're getting a production tour on the backside because, hey, we're the new neighbors in the neighborhood here when we moved here. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're trying to get down to the Kansas City area. And I'm like, you need to go meet Miss Tula Pink because their logo looked so much like Tula Pink that it was fabulous. Anyway, where to break that you need to meet Tula Pink. Phenomenal quilter, amazing young lady, bright, beautiful. The fabric, their logo from Cross Train in this beer matched Tula's. What was that line where she had? It was it the one with the ladies and the skulls that are beautiful. I can't remember, but anyway, phenomenal and amazing.
Don't know.
And so the guys at the brewery are sitting there going, quilters, and in walks Jake with me, who's how old is Jake now? 28. And he has blushed more times when the ladies are here for open sew. Listen to some of their comments. I think it's fabulous. Right?
Mhm.
Well, when he quilts.
Yeah. I mean, we have a gentleman who was a Navy submarine guy. Started quilting when he was 78. He was 82. Fabulous quilter.
I have a customer whose wife always comes with him. And they come to a lot of things in my showroom, but he was in the Coast Guard. And when his daughter was growing up, he used to make costuming for dance competitions. So like lots of beading and sequins and stretchy because it was dance, right? And now he quilts. Like she pieces and he quilts for her.
That's so cool.
So yeah, quilters aren't what you think they are.
No.
Not at all.
I held that stereotype too, way back, like before. I'm talking going back to 2003 when my backyard neighbor friend Connie wanted to teach me to quilt. I told you about her, right? The one who grinds her own wheat.
Yeah.
And I can remember thinking, no, I'm okay. Because I had that vision in my head. I don't even know what it was, but it wasn't at all the experience that I've had or the experience that I live with the people that I deal with and, my own journey and all that kind of stuff. It's nothing like what you would think,
Right.
Right. Well, and I mean, I grew up going to my great grandmother's house and sitting under the frame when my mom's great aunts were quilting with my great grandmother. So, hand quilting, hand piecing, hand applique, everything was done by hand. So that was my vision of quilting because it's the only, the only experience I had, right? We did piece some tops by machine when I was little. When we lived in Germany, we made some tops for people that were having kids on the base at that point. But most of my experience was you did it by hand. So when my mom told me she wanted to give me a quilting class when I left my last job, I was like, no, no, thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, I'm okay.
And she did kind of strong arm me and finally got me to say, okay, I will try this, but if I don't like it, I'm not doing it anymore. And I did like it, but I do everything by machine. My mom still likes to needle turn applique. She can't do it as much as she used to. My sister does gorgeous needle turn applique. She doesn't have time to do it either, right? So it's just not, I mean, it's not the hobby that I thought that my mom was trying to get me into for sure. But you know, it's, and if you look at it as an industry, if you go to, well, if you go to market, right, which is quilt market is for like quilt stores to go to and buy patterns and to buy fabric. It's our professional vendor show every year that is specifically for people who are in the quilting industry as a profession. And the thing that has amazed me since I became a quilter, the first time I was there, the demographics in the room was older than I was, right? So I was one of the youngest people walking around market. And from 2008, which was the first year I went, not that long ago, really, to now, I'm one of the older people walking around market, which is cool. I think it's great. There are a lot of pattern designers and fabric designers that are very, very young. And I think it's great for our industry. I don't want to see quilting die out. And I think a lot of people think it's going to, like, these grandmas are all going to pass away and nobody's going to be quilting anymore. Because there was a resurgence of quilting, I guess, back by around the bicentennial. I personally wouldn't know this. I didn't live in the United States during that time frame. But I mean, that's what everyone tells me. Around the bicentennial, there was a big resurgence of quilting that then carried us through like the 1980s, right? And then you had a big gap again in quilting, and then it took off again in the early 2000s, which I can see those kind of delineations in my guild, or at least I used to be able to see them. I will also say that people that are our age, because the three of us are about the same age, right, are starting to come back into quilting now that kids are graduating from high school or graduating from college. We're seeing people.
What's that like? What's that like having kids graduate from high school yet?
No idea.
A lot of kids at home.
I have no idea.
Kidding, sorry. I'm still doing that, is what I'm trying to say. I'm still doing that.
Yeah, but you only have a couple more years now.
Right, I know.
So, you know, but your life also did get a lot freer when some of your older kids graduated.
Right.
I mean, not that it's easy having two. Yeah.
It's definitely a hobby that takes time. So if you look at hobbies that take time, fishing and cars and quilting, crocheting, that tend to
gardening,
be gardening, right? Older-ish and more mature-ish people, because we have a little bit more time. Also, economics as well.
Sure. It is not an inexpensive hobby. Right. Especially not at the level the three of us are at. Right.
Quilting is not cheaper than therapy.
No, it is not. It's more fun. It's way more fun. Way more fun. But not
more fun. But certainly not cheaper. Quilting is an expensive hobby.
Yes, it is.
Well, as most hobbies are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just got that in stereo. Did everyone else get that in stereo?
Did we say it together?
We did say it together.
I just heard one. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. It's true, though. I mean, it's funny that they said it together, you know, because it's true.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. It's expensive. Most hobbies are, right? You have to, you know, but life is no fun if you don't have hobbies either.
Oh, you got to have hobbies. You got to be creative. It doesn't matter if you paint, draw, make Lego buildings, quilt, crochet, knit, sublimate mugs and tumblers, or anything. Doesn't matter if you doodle, if you draw, if you color. Everybody needs a creative outlet in some way. You just have to find the right one. And as long as you're creating something out of anything and being creative, then that's a good thing.
I will say it's just kind of when we bought the store, my kids. So I joke about why I'm still doing high school. I have 8 children, all by the same dad. My oldest is 32.
Doug will be happy about that.
Yes, I know. I guess it's crazy. I always get, are you a blended family? I'm like, blended what? No, we all have the same dad. It's all good. We meant to do this. We did.
I have 8 kids, all by the same dad.
That's very rare nowadays.
It wouldn't have occurred to me to ask, but okay.
Well, apparently
sure
everybody
people
feels
do.
like they have a right to my fertility. It makes me laugh. It's all good. I got quite a few good quibs coming out. But anyway, the whole seeing my daughter now, getting to the story back. My second daughter is 30, has 4 kids. And now she called, and when we bought the store, I think they thought we were a little crazy. Okay, mom wants to do her quilting. Mom. Well, now she's starting to see what a little bit, if it's happening, I think a little bit our kids are. But the other day she's like, Mom, I took up crocheting. And I'm like, oh, yay. So the creative, I think it's, I need something. She's got these 4 kids. They're beautiful, but she needs something for herself.
Well, and when you think about what we actually do as an industry, I mean, all 3 of us have YouTube channels, right? So we're all content creators. I mean, we're not just quilting when we get, at least we're not, right? But when you start talking about to most of these younger quilters, right? They're usually doing something in addition to quilting, right? So I'm quilting, but I'm blogging about what I'm doing, or
Oh yeah,
I'm filming content for YouTube. I mean, there are quilters on Twitch. That one just surprised me. So there are people that will just watch people sew on a sewing machine. I'm like,
wow.
just like people watching people, game. So it's amazing to me where quilting's getting, and it's going to go wherever mainstream goes, right? So, because we are in all parts of the demographics of the world. So you're going to see quilting everywhere. You know if that makes sense. I'm interested to see where it goes.
Oh, I don't think it's stopping. I think the long arm has actually brought in a whole nother onion to the layer of the, another layer to the onion, wrong way to say that, of creativity that has these great options in this great new outlet for creativity. I mean, yesterday we had a gentleman walk in, 2 gentlemen. They were pretty tatted up. And he comes over and he asks me, he's like, I just got back into sewing. And he's asking me all these beautiful questions. And I'm like, hey, I think tattooing and long arming, you tattoo the skin. I'm tattooing fabric. Right? There's a lot of similarities between a lot of these different crafts. So it was just so much fun talking to him. It was like a breath of fresh air that just walked in the door. It was so cool.
Well, we use the same shapes.
Yeah. A needle.
We
embellish fabric.
Yeah. I know a lot of long armers that have tattoos. Some of them just have a couple. Like Tracy. She's got beautiful tattoos. But I know a lot of people that have a lot of tattoos and are long armers. It's,
again, yeah. I think it's I find that quilting, I just think that the genre, like what the tattooers do and what we do, there's some similarities through the same picking out the design and picking out the colors and actually doing the stuff. I think it's really kind of fun.
Well, and they create the outline shapes just like we do when we're quilting, and then they fill them just like we do when we're piecing, right? So there's a lot of things that are similar. We just hopefully don't have as much pain in ours.
Right.
No.
It's more irritating than painful until
More
you get near a
irritating.
bone. Then it's painful.
Ouch.
Especially
When you
like the
think about
person
it,
that doesn't have any tattoos.
that's really interesting, actually, because I have never thought about those two together. But when you think about it, every tattoo that I have is very important to me and it means something special. And I got it for a specific reason to honor a specific person or a time or whatever. And quilters do that with quilts.
Sure.
We make memory quilts out of someone who's passed away, their clothing, or memory quilts of all the children's, a bunch of the kids' clothes get turned into a thing, or you get a t-shirt quilt made for you and you go off to university and it's got all your sport teams on, like all your sport jerseys has been made into it and all that kind of thing. So
Right.
it's still all tied to the emotions and the memories and wanting to create or have something created on you, whichever way you're doing it, meaningful to hold a place about life somewhere along your journey.
I would say most people who are having tattoos are purposeful in what they do, and most quilters are also purposeful too. I'm sure that there's somebody out there that's just like, hey, bud, give me a tattoo. I don't care what it is. But I would think that would be rare.
Well, yes, and I know for me, I've been thinking for a long time. I know what I'm going to get next. I just have to find the right artist to do it for me because it's going to be big. It'll be the biggest one yet, but it's important and I want it on there. I don't know why. I want it on my arm, all the way down my arm, and it'll be beautiful when I find the right person to do it.
If you think about it, the tattoo artist and the longarmer, we hear about the stories of the why.
Yes.
So there's some of the same similarities as well. As you're sitting there probably getting a tattoo and you're talking about why and all of this and what this person means, or the same with we hear the same thing in this industry with the quilt and with long arming for that person. I made this out of my grandfather's t-shirts and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we need to be hanging out at more tattoo parlors and encouraging people to come quilt.
Right? But they'll probably be going vice versa.
Yeah, well, true. I mean, I personally think if there was a tattoo artist at a big quilt store, they'd probably be busy, or a big quilt show. I mean, they'd probably be busy. I mean,
I've seen lots of quilters that'll even get like a needle and thread tattooed on their wrist, or a needle and thread like on their hand somewhere, just something tiny. I mean, not every tattoo has to be
huge.
Mine are all small. The one on my forearm is my biggest one, but mine are all small. It doesn't have to be like your full body. You can get just a little tiny one just to mark that part of your life or whatever. But yeah, that's interesting.
I should tell you my one story about tattoos, which I thought was hilarious. The fake tattoos. I was at a machine quilting seminar or convention out in Kansas, and me and two of my friends were joking around, and they had fake tattoos, and I think it said "Born to Quilt" on them. I don't remember. All I know is that the lady that was selling them and the three of us ended up in the women's room, and she was helping us put these tattoos on. Now, I put mine on my ankle. One of my friends put them on her rear end, and that's why she needed help. It's a long, involved story. But I came home with this tattoo on my ankle, right? And I didn't think anything about it. They wear off over time, right? So I'm out on my father-in-law's boat, and my brother, Matt's brother-in-law, his little sister's husband, went, "Oh my gosh, Aunt Ange got a tattoo." Because he had his littles with him at the time. And I went, "What? I don't have a tattoo." And then I went, "Oh, it's fake." It's fake.
That's funny.
He was so funny though, because he's like, "Ah." He goes, "I couldn't believe that you got a tattoo." And I was like, I guess I'm straighter than I thought I was, I'm not anti-tattoo at all. I just, I am.
I'm never going to needle. I don't like, it's not that I don't like tattoos. I think they're beautiful. I don't like needles. I'm like fearful of needles.
I completely
Careful.
respect people that can get tattoos. I think they're beautiful. But yeah, I don't trust anybody with a needle that close to me. I have a hard time going to a doctor,
Right.
so yeah.
My first one, I'll tell this story quickly. I have a tree of life and a butterfly on my back, up under like the very top of my back.
Mhm.
So I got my nose pierced when I was 40. Didn't go over well. My kids thought I was really cool. Anyways, my mother-in-law came with me to hold my hand while I got my nose pierced. And I'm telling you, it flipping hurt like anything. I'd give birth 3 times again before I got my nose pierced again. But anyway.
Oh, wow.
So while
Wow.
we're waiting, we're looking through the books, and I'm sitting beside, Grandma's sitting with me, and she says, "Oh, you know what, sweetie?" She said, "I've always wanted a tattoo." And she was already sick at this time, right? And I said, "Oh, me too, Grandma." I said, "But I don't think it's a good idea." I said, "If Heath didn't kill me, my dad would kill me." And she goes, "I've always wanted a tattoo." And she says, "I have an idea. If I'm still here when I'm 65, let's go together and we'll just get a little tattoo together."
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, don't. Oh, God. So, and she said to me, "Your husband can't get mad at you because if I'm with you when you get it, he can't get upset with you. And Papa can't get upset with me because I'm sick." I'll play that card.
That's
So
horrible.
Oh
anyway,
my God, I love her.
oh, she was truly, truly wonderful. Anyway, her 65th birthday came. She was not well enough to go. And I wasn't going to go. And she said, "No, I want you to go." She said, "You go and get what you wanted to do." So I got the tree, and then she was going to get a butterfly. So while I was there, I asked him to put a butterfly beside the tree so that she could kind of still have the tattoo that she wanted. So she loved that when I showed her. But I didn't tell anybody about that one. Like it wasn't, you know what I mean? I kind of kept it private, and it's just back there. Nobody would ever know that I have them back there because they're completely covered. And then the next one I got was my dragonflies, and my dragonflies represent each one of my kids, right? And when I say it hurts, that's where it hurts, right by that bone. So anyway, again, didn't say anything. My mom and dad are over for dinner one night, and I had just a shirt on, and my sleeve came to about there, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're eating. Now I'm 50, 49, 50 at the time.
I was gonna say,
Anyways,
yeah.
yeah. So we're eating dinner, and my dad says to me, "Oh, got something on your arm." And he sort of leaned over, and I said, "Oh, no, I'm all right." And I'm thinking, "Oh crap, here we go." And I just kind of pulled my sleeve down a little bit, and he said, "What's on your arm?" I said, "Nothing. I don't have anything on my arm," which is stupid because I mean, eventually he's going to
He's
see me in
gonna
a
see it.
t-shirt, right? I said, "Nothing." He looked at me, he goes, "You didn't." I said, "What? Tell me you didn't." And I just pulled my sleeve up, and I said, "It's my baby's." And he just looks at me. He's like, "Oh." Like he didn't even say anything, which was worse than, you know what I mean? But once he looked at it and he goes, "I like that. I like that." I'm like, "Thank you. Please don't be mad at me." I know I'm grown with kids, but don't be mad.
Well, then the last one honors him, doesn't it? The sparrow wasn't, or the bird? I don't think it's actually a sparrow. Yeah.
It's a bluebird.
That's what it was, a bluebird. I'm sorry.
Right at the end, my dad used to have these really wicked dreams. I think it was probably all the morphine and everything else they were giving him. And he kept talking about this little bird. And he was always in a forest with all these creatures. And there was this little bluebird that always would come to him in his dream and help him stay away from like the monsters.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he talked about this little bluebird all the time. So his little
I knew
friend.
her when she got the bluebird.
Oh, awesome.
I think I
Yeah.
met you right after you got the dragonflies.
Yeah. So they're sentimental. I cried all the way through the bluebird. Not because it hurt.
Mm.
But again, look at that tattoo artist is kind of like what we do with quilters as a long armor intaking and seeing how the customer is with this quilt and how emotional they are with the quilt, and they hand it over to us to long arm and stuff. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there has to be a good level of trust there,
Oh yeah.
Right.
especially on something that's been made out of somebody's clothes or somebody's t-shirts or anything like that.
Right.
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 Yeah, stuff's important.
This quilting world never ceases to amaze me on the versatility of it. On the giving side, we can talk for eons upon eons of it. It's amazing. So,
And the joy it brings.
yes.
Yeah.
The two ladies that were here this morning, I got to tell you, they bought a Lucy. Charlene bought a Lucy last year, or at the end of last year. It's still not set up because she's in the process of moving. So this morning, her and Kim came. They want to get used to the machine before they set theirs up. Kim came in here like a 7-year-old. She was so excited when she got here. And then, of course, it just ramped up because I thought she was going to do like an edge to edge and quilt to quilt just to get familiar with the machine. No, man. She came in. She's free motion in that baby. It's for her granddaughter. I helped them get it loaded. Charlene was here. Kim's here. They are giggling back there together. And, she started off all stiff. And, by the third pass, she's one hand in that sucker and doing loops and all kinds of things, right? And then it's just seeing people, especially who are older, because I'm sure they're at least my age, maybe a little bit older, I'm not sure. The joy.
Yes.
They're both learning something new, which, it doesn't matter how old you are. Try something new. Do all the things, because tomorrow we might not be here.
Yeah, we're not guaranteed to have tomorrow.
We're never guaranteed to have tomorrow. Do all the things, but to see people, especially when they're a little bit older, learn something new or get a new hobby or fall in love with, in our case, long arming, and the joy, and they're coming back tomorrow, and tomorrow they're using Quilt Path. As they left and the door closed, I know, Kim, if you're watching this, I heard you. As they went through the door and the door closed, she's like, "Oh my God, that was awesome." So
I love it.
They're coming back, and I'm going to teach them how to use Quilt Path because they're going to add a Quilt Path. So they're going to quilt the one tomorrow with the Quilt Path. But they're so excited, and it's just awesome,
right,
to be a part of that.
Right.
Yeah,
We get to be a part of some really fun things.
We do. Last week, Helga was back. I've told you about Helga. She brought her granddaughter, and her granddaughter, who's 12. They were quilting a quilt that she started when she was 7, I think.
Oh, man.
And then decided to finish it now. And I mean, certification class, it's fine. Helga's here. She's quilting. So her granddaughter quilted half the quilt.
Yay.
So they've got all those. And I took pictures and video for her while they were working, and I sent it to her. So now they've got all this memory about getting this quilt finished. It's fabulous. So I went from 12 to, I've had a 90-year-old here before.
Right.
So think about this, that 12-year-old, when she gets to be our age, is still going to remember quilting with her grandmother.
That's right.
Right. That memory.
She will.
And it's going to be a cool memory. It's not going to be sitting under the frame with a needle,
Right.
And she'll probably still have the quilt.
True.
Yeah.
That's what I said to Helga. She's going to have that quilt forever and all these memories of making this with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've let my girls long arm. My girls, when we own the store, they're 16 now. So we've had the store for 4 years. So they long armed when they were 12.
Mm-hmm.
I made my whole family long arm. And I said, this is what we do. And it was really kind of fun.
Yeah.
I tell everybody here, they're like, well, can my granddaughter come in or my grandson or whatever, or can my kids? Yes, at 12. Yes, I make my lower L level probably a little bit lower than some people, but yeah, a 12-year-old with adult supervision would be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I was right there, but yeah.
I know that Angela Huffman's kids had to have been quilting younger than that, because back when I was going to MQS, her kids, they had a children's division, and her kids were entering quilts into it. All three of them entered quilts into it. So cool. I want to say they were like maybe 10 when they did that. Probably younger than that, because she got her long arm before I got mine. So yeah, it's not that unusual. And even when the twins were really little and they'd be over, I mean, they were like 4 or 5, and I'd be holding them up there and they'd be playing with the long arm. I mean, as long as there's an adult, they're not going to hurt the machine. I mean, it's a machine. So,
and that's the time to get them too.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Melanie pieced 2 quilts when she was 5. My daughter, if you hear me say Lucy, I'm talking about my daughter. I've called her Lucy since she was 3 days old, but her real name is Melanie. She made 2 quilts, big squares. And then when she was 6, I don't know why I remember so much that she was 6. She was 6. I loaded them on the long arm, still at home in the basement. And I'm like, okay. And this is what I love so much about kids. I had her up on a stool, so she's tall enough, right? So she's 6 years old. And I'm saying, all right, now, what kind of shapes do you want to make? Which button turns it on, Mommy? I said, well, just a minute. What kind of thing do you want to put on there? How do I turn it on? She didn't want to have the conversation about what she was going to do. She just wanted to know which button. And I said, okay, we're going to start here. I pulled up her bobbin thread for her. I said, you're going to push that button and then start moving. And I figured, just let her go. She started, and she's squealing with delight, and I'm moving the thing across, or her stool across, and she says, Mommy, I'm making waves. And I still have them. They're here somewhere. She was making like hooks, like sea curls.
Yes.
She says, Mommy, I'm making waves. And she just danced waves all over both of her quilts, and some have straight lines somewhere. And she was just in her glory. And I thought, who cares what shape you had in your head, or if you had a shape in your head? I don't quilt that way either,
Right.
But she just loved it. And then, of course, once she did, though, she was done. She had no interest after that. She got to try it.
She was there. She was there for a little bit.
Yeah.
And you don't know if it's ever going to come back. It could come back.
I was in my 30s, so.
Yeah, she tended to, and she still does. She'll try something. She'll be really, really good at it. And then she quits.
So, but that's not that unusual either.
No.
I mean, when I wanted to buy a long arm, Matt was like, no, because you're a serial crafter, because that's all he had ever seen was me do something and enjoy it and then stop doing it and do something else. Like, and I mean, in our relationship, it had happened many, many times. And he goes, you're going to have to prove to me you're going to stay in this longer before I'm shelling out that kind of money. Right. So he's still amazed at this, that I've made a business out of this, that I'm still doing it, because, he would tell you that card making lasted a minute and a half with me. Counted cross stitch. I still have things that aren't done. I took up knitting and I stopped knitting. Right. So
hey, I did a Bob Ross painting.
Oh, you did a Bob Ross painting. See? I did. Yeah.
I love Bob Ross.
Oh, itty bitty squirrels and itty bitty trees.
Oh, we're just going to put a little itty bitty tree right here. And then right at the end, he puts a great big thing in the front, and everything just goes poof to the background.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal, man.
Right.
He really was.
Oh, and I loved the cadence of his voice.
Yeah.
I can remember being a kid and I used to watch him paint.
Yeah.
I was mesmerized.
I watched a bunch of Japanese people watch him paint in Tokyo. I was at an electronics store in Tokyo when I was in college. I was visiting Matt's parents, and we were standing there just watching them. They were so mesmerized, and he was speaking English. And they were all speaking Japanese. They may have spoke English. I don't know. But our supposition from sitting there was that they probably did not speak English well enough to understand what he was saying.
Aw.
It was just him painting.
Mhm.
And there had to have been 50 people watching that TV.
That's so
It was
awesome.
amazing.
Everything
Oh,
about that man was just soothing.
Mhm.
Right.
From what he was painting to the way he spoke and the sound of the brush hitting the canvas. Like I can't, all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first Houston quilt show that we went to, that was in 2019 that Jake and I went to, they had a quilt display dedicated to Bob Ross.
We did.
Aw.
It
We
was so
did. I remember that.
yeah, see, quilting is again, really Bob Ross? That is so cool. I don't know.
I think he's always going to be part of our world, which is kind of
Mhm.
cool when you think he passed away quite a few years ago. So
Right.
he's
Yeah.
still
What an
part-
impact though he had
Mhm.
on all of that though.
and is
Right.
still having. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the amazing part. He's still having that impact.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
Nancy's notions. Nancy also, look at her, right?
Yeah.
There's amazing people in this quilting world that are going to have decades upon decades of
Georgia Bonesteel.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Don Kavanaugh.
Don Kavanaugh. Yeah.
Yes, the one and
Yeah.
the only Don Kavanaugh. I am not worthy. I know, right?
No, not at all. Not when Don's around.
Oh man. Can I
No,
just tell you, you
ma'am.
should have been here when she was teaching at the store. Oh, most incredible.
She
Yeah.
taught at my store for my grand opening.
Yeah, that's what you said. That's amazing.
She's
That's awesome.
amazing.
Yeah. That's great.
Completely amazing.
We love you, Dawn. We miss you.
You have no, yes, that's so true. But again, look at, we just encompass so much in the quilting and how diverse it really is. Did I tell you guys, I had one of my customers, Tara, she's works for she's on the board for the International Quilt Museum, and Tara's African American. And she wrote a book about a quilt store and about the young lady learning how to quilt. And she put Kathy's long arm shop in the book.
Aww.
Aw.
I know, right? So I'll make sure we'll get that link for the book because it's out on Amazon. It's a
cool, yeah.
fabulous story on a generation teaching another generation how to quilt. So it's fabulous. It's fabulous.
Aw, that's awesome.
I was in tears. So honored. So she put my glasses on there and my curly hair. But again, her love for quilting, she turns it into this beautiful book to help other generations love quilting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's something that we should all do, is try to get more people, not necessarily people younger than you either, just get more people into the industry and into the world, because the more people that are here, the better chance we have that it's going to survive.
Oh, it's gonna survive.
I don't think it's going anywhere. It's been around, really, when you trace backwards, it's been around for thousands and thousands of years since we've had fabric.
If anything, COVID told us that we need to learn how to garden, we need to learn how to bake, and we need to know how to sew. We're going back to the basics, baby.
Yeah.
And quilting, like everything else, will just change with time.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I sure hope so. When you think of what quilts look like even 20 years ago, let's say, versus what a quilt looks like now, I hope they keep changing.
Yeah, like Judy Niemeyer quilts. Come on. Wow.
I mean, we wouldn't have seen a quilt like behind Tracy 20 years ago. The one behind any of us.
Mm-hmm.
Mine more so than yours. The fabric's a little crazy in mine, but it's a very traditional quilt, right? The quilting is what makes Tracy's, and then there's an art quilt behind Kathy, right? So none of these quilts probably would have been around 20 years ago.
No.
Just a cute little wall hanging.
That is cute.
No, that's an adorable little wall hanging. So yeah.
That is cute.
Well, with that,
I haven't started dance classes yet.
so did I tell you I have one of my teachers that teaches here at the store? She is a perpetual beginner in something. She always wants to be a new learner. So she was taking pottery classes, and she's taking different classes to be a perpetual learner, to be a beginner, because it's important to be a beginner if you're going to teach beginners, to see how beginners feel.
Well, and it's just fun to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
Learning new things keeps your brain
Young.
better.
Right. Right.
Where did I put my keys?
The best one. Where's my phone?
Where's my phone? I do that all the time. I have
Where the hell are my glasses?
Yeah. I
Can't
can't
find them
see
anywhere.
without mine anymore, so I can't put them up there.
I can't see without mine either, so that's not a thing anymore. But
it was for years, and now it's where's my phone? And like they laugh at me. My dogs now have air tags on them, so I know where they are.
oh,
So yeah.
All right. Well, with that, ladies, should we say adieu and say, Tracy, we're looking forward to your surprise?
Tracy's surprise sounds like fun.
I know.
it is. I ordered stuff to make 3 surprises. So you know me,
Go big or go home.
can't do anything.
She can't do anything small, guys. That's a Tracy thing.
And we went through the whole show without Tracy getting Kathy and Angela. So it's a good thing.
I didn't say one stupid thing. You're welcome.
She's like,
I
All
always
right,
say
everybody.
stupid.
If we could give a thumbs up, a like, a share, down in the description below, we'll have all of our YouTube channels. So you guys
Like, subscribe,
mine are purple.
join the channel, join the conversation in the thingy below. Talk to us.
Yes. And
And we'll
thank
talk
you. Have an awesome night.
Bye, guys.